Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you to today's presentation. We're going to explore how our MCG technology is revolutionizing cardiac diagnostics. The title of our talk is, Our MCG is Your 21st Century Replacement of the 130-Year-Old EKG and Most of Your Cardiologists' Legacy Stress Imaging Tests. Today, we'll discuss how this innovative approach can transform patient care, streamline diagnostics, and replace traditional methods. So, let's dive in and see what the future of cardiology looks like. So, I want you to imagine waking up in the middle of a nightmare, only to realize that what you thought was a functioning system has actually become something quite different. It's become an institutionally captured, stinky, rotten egg. And what I mean by that is, the system we rely on, whether it's social, political, or economic, has been co-opted and corrupted from within. It's no longer serving the people or the common good. Instead, it's become a stagnant, rotten mess. This realization highlights a critical point. We are facing an urgent and desperate need for real change. Not just surface-level fixes, but a systemic and fundamental transformation. Because if we keep operating within this flawed framework, the problems will only deepen. This slide connects directly to our overarching theme. That meaningful change requires us to reimagine and rebuild our systems from the ground up. We can't afford to ignore how deeply these issues are embedded or assume they'll fix themselves. Instead, we need to act now, with purpose and clarity, to create a more just, equitable, and resilient future. I beg for your willing suspension of disbelief. What I mean by that is I'm asking you to set aside any doubts or skepticism for a moment. Because what you're about to see isn't a horror story, despite how it might look at first glance. Instead, I want you to understand that this is part of a bigger picture, one with a very happy ending. So, as we go through this, I encourage you to keep an open mind and follow along. Remember, this is all part of a larger narrative about hope, resilience, and the positive outcomes we're working toward. And by the end, I think you'll see how everything fits into the overall theme of transformation and success. Einthoven's 130-year-old hypothesis has not been proven. It's quite remarkable to think that after over a century, this idea still remains unconfirmed. Now, you might wonder, is this related to the LA lead, or could it just be a bunch of neutral amino acids? The truth is, no one really knows for sure. Nor has anyone proven that the so-called isoelectric point actually exists in this context. This is a crucial point because the entire field of electrocardiology hinges on this unproven hypothesis. It's a reminder that even foundational concepts in medicine often need ongoing investigation and validation. So, where is this supposed phenomenon located anatomically? That's another question that remains open, highlighting how much we still have to understand about the heart's electrical activity. This uncertainty underscores the importance of continuous research and critical thinking in our field. Applying system theory represents a genuine paradigm shift in how we understand and analyze the heart. Instead of just looking at traditional metrics like the EKG, this approach helps us discover and quantify the hidden dimensions and features of the cardiac system mathematically. The Multifunction Cardiogram, or MCG, exemplifies this shift. It applies a systems theory approach, which means it views the heart as part of a complex network, not just a standalone organ. MCG uses mathematical models based on Lagrange coordinates, which allow us to analyze the system's dynamics more comprehensively. What's really innovative is how these models combine results through 6 mathematical transformations. These transformations are derived by merging the coordinates via a Laplace transform, giving us a deeper, multidimensional understanding of the heart's behavior. This perspective is crucial because it considers the heart's interaction with all internal and external factors as an integrated whole. It measures the energy or power-generating network of this complex system, using multiple mathematical functions. Each of these functions captures different aspects or domains of cardiac function that other methods might overlook. And to tie it all together, these equations incorporate principles from Nubbut-Wiener's control theory, especially as applied in computational systems electrophysiology engineering. This fusion allows us to understand and control the heart's responses with a level of precision that was previously unimaginable. So, in essence, this approach is not just about new metrics. It's about fundamentally changing our paradigm, moving from isolated measurements to a holistic, systems-based understanding of cardiac health. Now, let's take a closer look at the 6 mathematical transformations that are essential in analyzing the heart's physiology. Each of these functions provides us with detailed, specific insights into how the heart operates as a biological system. They help us detect, measure, and monitor supply and demand imbalances, regardless of their cause. First, we have the phase angle shift, which tells us about the timing differences between signals. Next, the impulse response helps us understand how the system reacts to a sudden input. The cross-correlation measures how two signals relate to each other over time, revealing their degree of similarity. Then there's the coherence function, which indicates how consistently two signals are related across frequencies. The transfer function, often expressed as TXY, describes how input signals are transformed into output signals. It's a key to understanding the system's dynamics. We also see the inverse Fourier transforms, like P equals F inverse of TXY, and VXY equals F inverse of GXY, which convert frequency domain data back into the time domain for easier interpretation. The gamma squared value, gamma 2, is a ratio involving GXY squared and the auto spectrums GXX and GY, giving us an idea of signal strength and relationship. The transfer function TXY can be expressed as the ratio of GXY over GXX, showing how the input influences the output. Alternatively, TXY can be broken down into magnitude and phase, denoted as A and letter 3d5, respectively. The phase angle θ is calculated as the arctangent of the ratio of the imaginary to the real parts of TXY, which helps us understand the phase relationship between signals. Finally, GXX is the auto power spectrum, representing how power is distributed across frequencies in a signal, which is fundamental in signal analysis. Overall, these transformations form a comprehensive toolkit for dissecting the complex signals related to heart function, enabling us to better understand and monitor cardiovascular health. What is Premier Heart's multifunction cardiogram TM technology? Well, our research and development are built on decades of empirical data collection, vetting, and supervised machine learning. This thorough process helps us develop highly reliable algorithms that can assist in diagnosing, monitoring, and quantifying dysfunctions in the heart and brain systems. And we do all this physiologically, in real-world clinical settings. The core of our technology, the MCG, is a highly accurate and fully data-driven diagnostic tool. It's objective, meaning it's based on solid empirical data and highly reliable, especially at the bedside. The goal is to create a superdomain intelligent tool that can identify all stages of heart disease, including the earliest signs of physiological imbalances, those systemic supply and demand issues that often go unnoticed initially. What makes this really powerful is its ability to detect problems from any root cause, giving us a comprehensive view of cardiovascular health. Ultimately, our aim is to not just detect diseases early, but to help prevent and even reverse these conditions, whether they're acute or chronic, so we can work toward eliminating premature deaths. This technology is a crucial part of our overall mission to transform how we diagnose and treat heart conditions, making care more proactive, precise, and effective. Let's explore our system's computational physiology. We've built a digital equivalent of the incredibly complex biological mitochondrial network. Now, in the human body, this network is made up of between 70,000 and 100,000 trillion, or roughly 100 quadrillion, individual mitochondria. These tiny powerhouses are constantly working behind the scenes, driving power generation for cells, tissues, and organs. This ongoing activity is essential for our survival, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year round. Our Premier Heart's MCG system is structured around 6 key functions across 6 different domains. From these, we derive 12 phases. These are like branches of a computational system that help us observe, measure, and quantify the energy production dynamics of the entire mitochondrial network. It's a continuous process, capable of monitoring this system every moment if needed. Over decades, we've collected a vast amount of data, which has allowed us to develop highly refined, physiologically sound algorithms. These algorithms are objective, built on a solid mathematical framework that is both ethical and empirical. They're optimized to reflect real biological processes, governed by fundamental first principles, and designed to be computationally irreducible, meaning they're as straightforward as possible without losing accuracy. And at the core of everything we do is the rule: first, do no harm. This guiding principle ensures that all our methods and models prioritize safety and integrity, always aligning with the goal of supporting health and life. Our systems are built entirely on a foundation of solid mathematical principles and empirical data, ensuring robustness and accuracy. The Premier Heart's MCG platform is designed as a do-no-harm, bedside diagnostic tool, leveraging superdomain intelligence to improve both the safety and reliability of diagnoses. It uses techniques like decryption and fast Fourier transform, or FFT, to analyze the data. From this analysis, it generates a final diagnosis, which includes a severity score ranging from 0 to 22, giving a clear quantification of the patient's condition. An automated diagnostic report is then produced in PDF format, making it easy for clinicians to review and act upon. During the test, leads II and V5 are recorded for about 82 seconds, which is enough to gather a comprehensive data set. Overall, the entire process takes roughly 10 minutes, from recording to analysis to report generation. What's remarkable is how fast this all happens. Transmitting, analyzing, and receiving results is nearly instant. The data is amplified, digitized, encrypted, and transmitted to the cloud seamlessly. Our system has been updated to handle over 250,000 data points, which is a testament to its scalability and sophistication. In fact, our team has empirically discovered around 10 to the power of 12, or over 10 trillion, parameters that are 10 times the energy capacity of the entire mitochondrial network in animal and human cells. And the best part? This process operates 24/7, 365 days a year, providing continuous, reliable support for critical diagnostic decisions whenever needed. Today, I want to share an exciting breakthrough from our MCG technology platform development team. Through extensive exploration across its 6 domains and 12 phases, we've empirically identified a vast array of digital parameters. These parameters, which we've dubbed the quinquagitillion, are at least 10 times more numerous than the biological mitochondrial network. To put that into perspective, this numerical complexity is also 10 to the 68th power times larger than Google's data. Just imagine how incredibly vast and intricate the biological mitochondrial network must be to match such complexity. This discovery is truly unprecedented and has the potential to fundamentally transform healthcare as we know it in the 21st century. It opens new doors for understanding human biology at an entirely new level, paving the way for innovations we could only dream of before. This is a game changer, connecting deeply to our overall theme of harnessing advanced digital insights to revolutionize health and medicine. AMPK is truly the master switch when it comes to our metabolism and genetic survival. It plays a crucial role throughout our entire lives, helping to regulate energy balance and cellular health. One of its key relationships is with mitochondria, which are essentially the powerhouses of our cells. When AMPK is close to mitochondria, it supports important processes like autophagy, where the body cleans out damaged cells, and overall cellular metabolism. This proximity helps to clear waste materials, which is vital for maintaining longevity and good health. What's groundbreaking here is that we're now able to detect these expressions of AMPK, these signals that were previously impossible to see. This is a game changer because it allows us to understand how this master switch functions in real time, especially in connection with the mitochondrial network. This discovery fundamentally transforms healthcare, opening new pathways for personalized, precise interventions. We've developed a foundational system that aligns perfectly with the needs of 21st century lifestyle medicine, aimed at optimizing health and resilience. In essence, this is about empowering us to thrive by leveraging a deeper understanding of our body's natural survival mechanisms. It's a pivotal step toward a future where healthcare is more proactive, more targeted, and ultimately more effective. Let's talk about mTOR, or mammalian target of rapamycin. It's a protein kinase, which means it helps regulate key cellular processes. Specifically, it controls cell growth, proliferation, and metabolism, and it responds to nutrients and growth factors in the environment. Now, mTOR doesn't work alone. It operates as part of two distinct complexes, mTORC1 and mTORC2. Each of these complexes has unique roles in the cell. mTORC1 primarily regulates protein synthesis, cell growth, and overall metabolism. Think of it as the master switch for building and growing. On the other hand, mTORC2 is more involved in cell survival, organizing the cytoskeleton and insulin signaling. These functions are crucial for maintaining cellular health and responding to environmental cues. Understanding these complexes helps us see how mTOR integrates signals to maintain cellular balance. This is especially important as we connect it to the bigger picture of health and disease. And as we explore further, keep in mind how targeting these pathways could revolutionize healthcare, transforming how we treat various conditions. The MCG score is designed to change in line with the patient's condition. This means that as the patient's health improves or declines, the score will reflect those changes accordingly. It's a dynamic measure, providing real-time insights into how the patient is doing. Because of this, we can actually monitor the patient's condition continuously through their MCG score. It acts as a kind of ongoing health indicator, giving us a clearer picture of their progress without the need for constant manual checks. This connection between the score and the patient's condition is really central to the overall theme of personalized, responsive care. It allows us to adapt our interventions promptly, ensuring we're always aligned with the patient's current state. Let's take a closer look at the different types of ischemia and their implications. On this slide, we see both global and local ischemia. Global ischemia affects the entire heart, often due to systemic issues like severe hypotension or cardiac arrest, while local ischemia is confined to specific areas, such as a blocked coronary artery leading to a localized infarct. Disease severity varies widely, and this influences the type of arrhythmias we might see. For example, atrial fibrillation is a common atrial arrhythmia, whereas atrioventricular fibrillation involves both atria and ventricles, indicating more extensive electrical disturbance. Moving to cardiomyopathies, these are diseases of the heart muscle that can predispose to arrhythmias. This includes congenital heart disease, which is present at birth, and other structural changes that develop over time, like myocardial damage or myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart muscle. We also see pulmonary and rheumatic heart diseases, which can lead to secondary effects on cardiac function. Ventricular arrhythmias, such as ventricular fibrillation, are life-threatening and often associated with significant myocardial damage or hypertrophy. Incipient ventricular fibrillation is an early stage that we need to monitor carefully. Ventricular hypertrophy, or thickening of the ventricular walls, can be a response to chronic pressure overload and can increase the risk of arrhythmias. Acute power failure, bradycardia, and tachycardia are different electrical disturbances that can severely impact cardiac output. For example, decreased ejection fraction indicates poor pumping ability, while decreased or increased myocardial compliance reflects changes in the heart's flexibility and ability to fill properly. We also see various forms of asynchrony, global and localized, that affect how the heart contracts. Global asynchrony, such as V5 less than II, indicates widespread conduction delay, whereas localized asynchrony involves specific regions like II or V5. Finally, myocardial remodeling, which involves structural and functional changes in the heart tissue over time, can be both a cause and consequence of these electrical disturbances. Understanding these interconnected aspects helps us interpret MCG reports more effectively, as detailed in the report contents linked here. Recognizing the patterns of ischemia, structural heart disease, and electrical activity is crucial for accurate diagnosis and management. Let's take a closer look at the table comparing different stress testing methods. As you can see, MCG, or magnetocardiography, stands out with a sensitivity range of 90 to 100%, which is quite impressive. Its specificity ranges from 85 to 97%, making it a reliable tool to identify true negatives as well. In real-world settings, MCG maintains a high accuracy, between 90 and 100%, with very few false positives, only about 38 to 40% compared to other methods. Plus, the sample time is quite short, less than 10 minutes, making it a quick and efficient option. Cost-wise, MCG is also quite accessible, ranging from $300 to $500, and importantly, it is the only method on this list that allows for early detection and prevention. Now, what's exciting about MCG is that it can be performed at home, which is a game changer. It's especially useful for early detection and monitoring treatment effectiveness. Since it doesn't require specialized facilities or pharmaceuticals, it minimizes any risk of symptom exacerbation during testing. Plus, because it's done at resting heart rate, it allows us to detect issues and track how well treatments are working right at the bedside. Overall, MCG offers a combination of high accuracy, convenience, and early detection potential, fitting perfectly into the broader theme of improving our diagnostic and monitoring capabilities. Let's take a closer look at why this comparison really matters. First, when we consider accuracy, the MCG test offers a sensitivity of 90 to 100% and a specificity ranging from 85 to 97%. That means it's highly reliable in detecting true positives and true negatives. In contrast, traditional tests like nuclear imaging, echocardiography, stress tests, CTA, or CAG tend to have lower accuracy, around 48%, leading to more false positives, false negatives, and large blind spots that can impact diagnosis and treatment. Now, moving on to the time required and scalability. The MCG test can be performed at the bedside in approximately 10 minutes and is fully scalable, meaning it can be done anywhere, clinic, home, or even remotely, without significant delays. On the other hand, traditional tests often require multiple visits, special facilities, and can take weeks or even months to get results, which can delay necessary care. Regarding patient safety, the MCG test is completely safe. It's a resting test, so there's no need for stress, IVs, oral drugs, or radiation exposure. Conversely, traditional methods often involve stress procedures, radiation exposure, and sometimes carry risks of injuries or, in rare cases, death. Looking at the testing setting, the MCG can be done almost anywhere with internet access, making it highly accessible. Traditional testing requires specialized facilities and equipment, which many patients simply can't access easily. When we compare costs, the MCG test is quite affordable, ranging from about $350 to $550, just a fraction of what traditional tests cost, which can run into tens of thousands of dollars. Finally, regarding primary usefulness, the MCG is excellent for early detection and ongoing monitoring for prevention. It allows us to catch issues sooner, often before symptoms appear. Traditional tests, meanwhile, tend to be used when problems are already advanced, so they're often too little, too late. In summary, the MCG test offers a safer, faster, more accessible, and cost-effective approach that can truly transform how we detect and monitor heart health, aligning perfectly with our goal of proactive, preventive care. Overcoming the barriers to entry in the medical device industry has been a long and challenging journey, full of obstacles that often seemed insurmountable. But through perseverance, we've achieved what once felt impossible. Our technology is now infinitely scalable, meaning it can grow and adapt without limits, and it's built on a cloud infrastructure that supports rapid expansion and updates. We've secured 13 patents, which protect our innovations and give us a competitive edge. Our hardware is market-ready, having gone through rigorous development and testing, and we already have established distribution channels in place to get our product to the right users efficiently. Gaining FDA and ISO approvals was a critical milestone. These are essential for ensuring safety, efficacy, and regulatory compliance. We also secured a CPT code, which facilitates insurance reimbursement and broad adoption in healthcare settings. Our proprietary patient database is another key asset, built over 20 years and valued at around $250 million to recreate, giving us a significant advantage in research, development, and personalized care. This journey wasn't quick or easy. It spans over 2 generations of developers and decades of intensive research. Think back to the AI winter, from the late 1960s through the 1990s, where many projects faced skepticism and setbacks. Yet, our teams persisted, developing multiple hardware and software iterations, performing extensive verification and validation, and navigating all phases of clinical trials. All of this has culminated in a robust, market-ready solution that stands on the shoulders of decades of effort and innovation. Let's take a moment to explore the founder's vision behind our work. The lead inventor, Joseph T. Shen, MD, was originally a legacy physician, deeply rooted in traditional medical practices. However, in 1998, he made a pivotal decision to step away from that convention. His goal was clear: to develop more effective methods for tackling some of the biggest challenges in heart care. He aimed to reduce misdiagnosis, which can be life-threatening, and to prevent harmful late-stage treatments that often come too late. Another key focus was eliminating diagnostic blind spots and errors, those critical gaps that can lead to missed or incorrect diagnoses. All of this work is supported by decades of empirical evidence, meaning solid, data-driven proof, and verified through independent, replicable, and reproducible processes. Both internal teams and external experts have validated these findings, ensuring their credibility and reliability. And perhaps most importantly, our efforts are backed by satisfied customers who see the real-world benefits of these innovations. This vision underscores our commitment to transforming heart care, making it safer, more accurate, and more cost-effective, aligned with the overall goal of improving patient outcomes through innovation. In 2011, the AMA CPT panel assigned MCG a questionable CAT III code. This code was described as a computerized database analysis of multiple cycles of digitized cardiac electrical data from 2 or more ECG leads. It also included the transmission of this data to a remote center, along with the application of multiple nonlinear mathematical transformations, and importantly, assessments of coronary artery obstruction severity. This new description was actually approved in 2013 with the support of the Rhythm Society, under CPT code 206T. What's crucial here is that our technology, which involves complex digital analysis and remote data processing, should have been granted a permanent CPT category I code. This would recognize it as a standard, established medical procedure, reflecting its significance and reliability. Overall, this highlights the ongoing challenge and importance of properly classifying advanced cardiac technologies within the CPT coding system, ensuring they receive the recognition and coverage they deserve. In 2012, Hummock Medicare took an independent step and drafted this local Medicare coverage policy. Essentially, they set specific restrictions on certain diagnostic tests when used in conjunction with multifunction cardiograms. The key point here is that providers were instructed not to send patients for certain tests within 6 months of performing a multifunction cardiogram. These tests included stress tests, whether exercise, pharmacologic, or nuclear, stress echocardiograms, unless there was a structural heart defect documented as the primary concern, and multi-slice computed tomography. This draft created quite a stir because it directly limited the use of these diagnostic options, raising questions about access and clinical decision-making. It's a clear example of how local policies can impact testing practices and reflects the broader theme of evolving coverage decisions in cardiology. On this slide, I want to emphasize that the evaluation of this technology has been conducted independently and ethically by numerous high-quality investigators. These researchers have published their findings in respected medical journals, which adds significant credibility to the data. For example, studies published in the British Medical Journal and Circulation have demonstrated the usefulness of this approach. Researchers like Amano and Shinoda from Open Heart and Grube and Bootsfeld from Circulation have contributed valuable insights. Additionally, there are comparative studies, such as the one by Strobic and Mangary, which paired the multifunction cardiogram, or MCG, with stress SPECT imaging to detect significant coronary stenosis over 70%. That's a critical threshold in identifying relevant blockages. Further, Canali and colleagues assessed the non-invasive capabilities of spectral ECG analysis, using mathematical analysis of MCG, and compared these results directly with coronary angiography in symptomatic patients. That's a real step forward in non-invasive diagnostics. There are also interventional studies, like those by Takeshita and Shinoda, that look at how well MCG correlates with catheterization and other vascular interventions. And in South Korea, Katatani and team compared a two-lead computerized ECG device, the MCG, directly with angiography, MDCT, and SPECT for detecting relevant coronary artery stenosis. What's important to note is that in many countries around the world, whether in Asia, the US, or Europe, MCG is increasingly recognized as a useful tool for diagnosis and screening because it's non-invasive and highly accurate. The accumulation of research from prominent organizations like Circulation, TCTAP, ACC, CCI, and ESC really supports the validity of this technology. Overall, these independent evaluations reinforce that MCG is a credible, ethical, and valuable approach in cardiovascular diagnostics. So, what is the real difference that MCG makes in diagnostic medicine for the 21st century? Well, let's start by looking at traditional methods. When we think about diagnostics, we often rely on blood tests, which give us valuable information about the biochemical makeup of the body. But they don't tell us much about the actual structure or function of tissues and organs. Then there are imaging scans, X-ray, MRI, CT, PET scans, that show us the anatomy quite well. They're excellent for visualizing structures, but they often leave us in the dark when it comes to understanding how those structures are actually functioning. This is where the information blind spots come into play. All traditional methods, whether they're blood tests or imaging scans, have gaps, blind spots, that limit our understanding. They might tell us if something looks abnormal, but they don't always reveal why or how it's affecting the body's systems. That's a critical limitation. Now here, where MCG truly transforms the game. It fills in those gaps, eliminating the blind spots by providing vital, actionable information that we simply couldn't get before. Instead of just looking at static pictures or biochemical snapshots, MCG looks at micro and macro molecules in bodily fluids, giving us a window into the body's functional systems. Think of it this way: traditional methods give us the structure, like the blueprint of a building. But MCG allows us to understand the actual operation and physiology of those systems. It's providing the functional information that's been missing since the beginning of time. This is a game changer because understanding how the systems are working or not working enables us to diagnose, treat, and monitor patients much more effectively. In essence, MCG bridges the gap between structure and function, giving us the complete picture needed for truly personalized, precise medicine in the modern era. Let's talk about the future of heart health care and what it really means. The next generation of care will be more ethical, safer, and increasingly digital. It will be scalable, cost-effective, and more accurate, providing us with timely and objective data. This shift is all about moving towards earlier, empirical, data-driven insights that are verified independently and trustworthily. The goal is to eliminate blind spots in diagnosis and treatment. This new paradigm opens the door for lifestyle medicine to not just manage symptoms, but to prevent and even reverse diseases before they become critical. Now, what does this mean for the legacy market? Well, it's pretty clear. It's going to shatter the outdated chain of toxic practices. For decades, we've been stuck with managing symptoms instead of addressing root causes. And sadly, there's been ruthless profiteering at late stages, profit-driven actions that seek out the worst cases, often regardless of the outcomes. This approach causes real harm, often with impunity. We see this in the staggering number of Americans, around 800,000, who either die or suffer severe injuries each year due to medical errors, especially misdiagnosis. So this paradigm shift isn't just about better technology. It's about fundamentally transforming how we approach heart health and medicine as a whole, moving towards a system that's safer, more effective, and more humane. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. What does that really mean? Well, often, when people say something can't be done, they're just expressing their current perspective or limitations, not an absolute truth. And this ties into a famous idea by Arthur Schopenhauer, who suggested that all new truths go through 3 stages. First, they're underestimated, dismissed as unlikely or impossible. Then, they face vehement opposition. People push back strongly. Finally, once enough evidence or acceptance builds, the idea becomes mainstream, and it's accepted without much question. This cycle is so relevant because it reminds us that what seems impossible today might be just misunderstood or ahead of its time. And speaking of impossibility, our experts have often insisted that what we've managed to develop, our innovations, are impossible until quite recently, sometimes even until 2050. But as we've seen, we've proven them wrong over and over again. This demonstrates that the boundaries of what's possible are constantly shifting. It's a powerful reminder that we shouldn't let opinions limit our vision or our efforts. Because, ultimately, many things considered impossible are just waiting for their moment of acceptance, and that might be sooner than anyone expects. And this is just the beginning. You know, the saying, "If you don't look to the east, you won't see the sunrise," really captures the idea that new opportunities are always on the horizon. Many people around the world are starting to wake up to these possibilities, and we're seeing a shift happening globally. What's especially exciting is that many former or current cardiologists are becoming our paying customers and strong advocates. They recognize the value of what we're offering and are helping us spread the message even further. This all points to a bright future ahead, not just for us, but for everyone involved. It's a future where innovation and collaboration open new doors and where we can make a real difference in healthcare. So let's keep looking east, keep embracing these new opportunities, and together build a future that benefits all. Thank you. We strive to balance creativity and innovation with our highest priority, ensuring our system's effectiveness and patient safety. Our MCG is truly your 21st century replacement for the traditional 130-year-old EKG, and it also replaces many of your cardiologists' legacy stress imaging tests. This represents a significant leap forward in how we approach cardiac care, combining cutting-edge technology with a focus on reliability and safety. It's about transforming the way we monitor and diagnose heart health, making it more efficient, safer, and more accessible. So, as we wrap up, I want to emphasize that our goal is to support your work and improve patient outcomes through innovation that never compromises on safety or quality. Thank you again for your attention and your dedication to advancing healthcare.